Rare's brilliant, bizarre multiplayer booty 'em up is out now on PC, bringing with it a crisp open world of gold, cannon and grumpy pirates. But Sea of Thieves is an unusual game with some unconventional systems. It's not always clear exactly what you do. That's why we've rounded up a list of tricks that trainee buccaneers might find useful. And there's a list in the description so you can jump to the bits you need. Here are 9 things we wish we knew before playing Sea of Thieves. If you've played the beta or been watching the early videos, you'll be fine starting out, but for everyone else, a nudge in the correct direction certainly helps. To start with, you'll need to collect a mission from one of the 3 merchant outlets in the game. The Gold Hoarders, who unlock chests and share the rewards, the Merchant Alliance, who pay for supplies and livestock, and the Order of Souls, who offer combat challenges and pay for the skulls of former pirates. These are marked out as yellow, blue and purple respectively, and you can see signs pointing to them on every outpost in Sea of Thieves. And finally, when the game begins, it'll take you through a short tutorial. At the time of recording, the info on screen for this was actually wrong. It highlights the right mouse button for eating bananas instead of the left, for example. It'll likely get patched out soon, but if you've been stuck waving a banana about since installing, that'll be why. The first mission you collect from a trader is free, future ones you'll have to pay for. Once you've decided what mission you want, you'll have to take it to the captain's table on your ship so your crew can vote on it. If you're alone, it'll start automatically. Some items can only be collected after you've selected your mission. So if you're collecting chickens for the Merchant Alliance, for example, you'll only be able to collect the coops after you've chosen the mission. And if you're collecting 2 chickens, remember to collect 2 coops, and know that you can only use the right box for the right animal. Once you've started your mission, your maps will be updated, and you can see exactly what you need to do by pressing E. If you're collecting bounties, for example, this will tell you which ones you need. Be aware that if you're finding animals, it doesn't tell you what to do or where to go, and animal spawns are random, so you'll need to look around. Bigger islands often have a wider selection of creatures. And if you're looking for chests for the Gold Hoarders, make sure you have the right island, because some of them look very similar. When you're out on your missions, don't forget to pick up any extra supplies you find. Spare chicken coops can often be found, as well as resources like sugar and explosive barrels, which are potentially useful for taking out enemy ships. Most of this stuff is obvious, especially since you get that brief introduction at the start of the game, but there are a few additional tips worth remembering. Firstly, if you're on PC, you don't need to use the radial wheels. All of the items have shortcuts, and using them will make your life easier, especially if you're bailing out a flooding ship or patching up holes with planks. Remember, you can hold multiples of some items, such as planks or cannonballs. If you're in a battle with an enemy ship, make sure you're holding a few cannonballs so you can reload quickly and keep firing. More on that in just a bit. If you're on a Merchant Alliance mission and you need to deliver items by a certain date, your watch will give you all the information. You can also show your crewmates any of the items you're holding, including maps, by holding down right-click. If you're collecting snakes, always charm them first by playing your instruments, which is handy, especially if you don't want to get bitten. And finally, a quick word about your cutlass. It's obviously best used for hacking down skeletons and enemy buccaneers, but you can hold down attack to do a dash move. Do this slightly above a body of water and you'll skim across it like a peg-legged surfer. This is likely to be patched out in a future update, so enjoy it while you can. It goes without saying that playing alone is tougher than playing with a group because you have to do all the busy work yourself, but we're going to say it anyway. An 8-gun galleon will blow your 2-gun sloop right out of the water. But there are other issues as well. If you're transporting multiple chests and crates back to your ship, other players can sweep in and steal your hard-earned goods. And it also affects the missions you take. If you're on a crew with more advanced players, you'll be able to go on more lucrative missions and raise your reputation quicker. Perhaps the one benefit of being on a sloop is that you don't need to move to check the map. Simply look over the back of the ship and you can see where you are in real time. Just don't ask how it works, it's very nautical. This is, somewhat unsurprisingly, the most important entry of all. There are loads of little tricks you can use to make sailing more efficient, and we'll go through some of them now. First of all, angle your sails to reach maximum speed. Take note of the gusts of wind in the air, represented by these swooshy little white lines. If you alter the angle of your sails to match the wind, you'll see them fill satisfyingly and your ship will move through the sea faster. And remember to do this with all your sails if you're sailing on a bigger ship. Conversely, if you want to slow down and turn sharply, make sure you shorten your sails. Try and learn where everything is. Your ship has stocks of planks, cannonballs, bananas and so on, and you can even change your clothes and appearance on board. Remember where they are so you can react quickly and restock these crates whenever you get the chance. Running out of planks, for example, is a recipe for a briny seabed disaster. And don't forget that damage to the hull isn't the only thing that can make you sink. If you're in a heavy storm, check the hull to make sure it isn't flooding and bail it out with a bucket if it is. Spotting other ships is one of the most exciting things in Sea of Thieves. Fleeing is exhilarating and sinking an enemy vessel feels amazing, but it can be tricky. Cannon fire in a higher arc than you might expect, so aim low whenever you can. Ideally, you should hit enemy ships below the waterline so they begin to sink. If they're below deck patching holes, they're not firing back. You should also preload your cannon before you set sail. It makes firing that first volley quicker, obviously, and saves space in your storage. And if you're avoiding fights, remember you can manually extinguish all of your lamps. This is great if you're traveling at night with a cargo of goods and you don't want to get intercepted. Sea of Thieves has an unusual character collection screen. Instead of creating a pirate, you pick from this motley crew and press page down if you don't like your options. You can get stuck here for ages if you're not careful, but choose wisely. You can change most of the cosmetic stuff later on by buying new hair, beards and clothes, but things like hair and skin colour, body shape and age are all permanent. And while you don't see yourself most of the time, you're visible during emotes, so make sure you choose someone you're happy seeing when you're pulling those dramatic poses. And don't forget, you have a few other options in your vanity case when you start out, which can be found outside some shops and in the hold of your ship. Buying new items of any kind is often pretty expensive, so start saving now if you want those stylish new boots. It's tempting to fire up Sea of Thieves and start knocking back the grog, but drink in moderation. Empty your tankard and you'll start to sway, making all but the simplest tasks almost impossible. And if you do accidentally get sloshed, a quick dunk in the water will sober you up. Alternatively, you can keep drinking, fill a bucket with your regurgitated grog and throw it at people you don't like. It's actually quite a handy weapon if that's how you choose to live your life. Our final entry is on communication. This is a crucial one if you're playing with a crew. And while Sea of Thieves does have that radial wheel, it's slightly limited if you want to point out specifics. You can type messages using T, but we'd recommend, you guessed it, using a headset to get the most out of the game. Remember that your crewmates' names will show up as green and everyone else's names will be white. And if you've been matched with someone who does nothing but get drunk, you can send them to the brig by looking at the My Crew screen and voting on it. Keel hauling them, unfortunately, is not an option. So there you go, a swollen hold full of tips that made our lives slightly easier when we started playing Sea of Thieves. Do you have any top tricks to share? If so, please sign your comments on the ledger below, give us a thumbs/hook up if you enjoyed this video, and join the Logitech crew by smashing that subscribe button.